Moving to Florida is a dream in minds of many people. I mean, last year alone, there 319,000 people moved here. It's an absolutely beautiful state. But there's also a dangerous and dark side to Florida. So many who have moved here have chosen to live here and have now been completely wiped out. Sadly, they're saying goodbye to their investments and they're saying goodbye to their life savings. Now, moving to Florida and living here has changed a lot. Yet every single day, unsuspecting people are buying homes here in Florida. Now, many of them have massive regret because they just did not know. Now, a few weeks ago, I did a video about what you need to know before you move to Florida. So today, I'm diving even deeper. I'm on location to give you a full tour so that you can avoid the pitfalls that are costly. So give me a thumbs up if you're good with that. Now, as a buyer, you need to be realistic about what things are going to cost, because it's bad enough that people overpaid, but new homeowners have been getting blindsided by all the different costs that they did not expect. Now, be warned, you may not like this, but I'm showing you 7 alarming Florida money trap issues that you must know. Even if you're just thinking about moving here, I don't want you to end up with the same regret that many of these people have. You may have started to look at Florida homes and condos for sale online, but the real story from real homeowners, not the salespeople, tells a completely different story about the true cost to own and what's really happening in Florida. So, in descending order, number 7, hurricanes, tropical storms, lightning strikes equals high insurance increases. Well, here's the facts. Florida accounts for 79% of all insurance lawsuits filed, yet the rest of the entire United States makes up only the other 21%. Why is this? Well, last year alone, Florida's hurricane season ended with 14 named tropical systems, including 8 hurricanes, with 3 major hurricanes, Ian, Nicole, and Fiona, which brought extensive damage throughout the entire state of Florida. Not just coastal Florida, all of Florida. Now, this may not be what you want to hear, but it is the truth. Now, this is a warning about how ugly and regularly occurring these events have gotten. And this is really happening, as you can see here with your own eyes. Number 6, Florida state mandated flood insurance. Now, Florida state legislature passed a bill that mandates homeowners in Florida must purchase additional flood insurance. Now the requirements apply to homeowners across the state, regardless of whether you're in a high-risk flood zone or not. So, if you heard that right, the bill passed just because Hurricane Ian caused catastrophic damage in parts of Florida that were just about no one had flood coverage. Now financial ruin from flood, or financial ruin from the additional high flood insurance premiums. Now, this is the reality of living in Florida. Now think about this. You bought a house, you paid the insurance premiums, and then when you need them the most, you're still dealing with this 6 months or a year later. Now, don't think you're just going to get handed a check just because that's the TV commercial. Look, the reality, many insurance companies in Florida have completely gone bankrupt. As a matter of fact, 14 companies have completely pulled out of the state. So if you do place a claim, expect a massive fight in order to squeeze out even the lowest amount of settlement money, and then you have to cough up the rest of the actual costs. And then, after a claim, do you think your yearly premiums are going to increase? Yeah. Now, the state tells you that if you move to Florida, you don't have a choice because now flood insurance is mandatory, and that's on top of all your other insurances and costs. So just remember, flood insurance is generally not included in most insurance policies. So Florida's insurer of last resort is Citizens Insurance, and they may be the only choice since many Florida residents are currently being dropped, especially by their private insurance companies. So sky-high costs along with mandated flood insurance requirements, I don't know, what do you think about that? Put it in the comments below. Now, some of you wrote me and you said that your homeowner's premiums went from $4,000 a year to $12,000 a year. And some of you didn't expect that increase, or the increase in roof replacement costs in Florida. It's been crazy high. One woman said to replace her terracotta roof was $111,000. It's really happening. Florida hurricanes is nothing new, and it's not just global warming. So think about the states where hurricanes hit the most often. Take a look at this. Now, for example, South Carolina has 75% fewer hurricanes than Florida, and that makes a huge difference in the actual cost of living
and a relaxed lifestyle. The problem is that Florida homeowners insurance is sky high and will only keep increasing year after year, and there's no cap to this.
Number 5, do you even need homeowners insurance? I mean, what kind of Florida homeowners insurance do you really even need, right? So mortgage lenders, they'll usually require homeowners insurance as part of the mortgage terms. That is, if you have a mortgage or if you're getting financing, you must have at least the minimum basic policy. Now, these policies must include the house itself as well as the contents inside the house.
On the other hand, if you pay cash, you don't need to buy insurance. You could self-insure. You just back up the risk with your own money. But of course, the downside is whenever anything happens, it comes directly out of your pocket. For the cleanup, the trash out, you pay. If you need another place to stay while your repairs are being done, you pay. So essentially, you're the insurance company yourself. But as we've seen recently, you could have a total loss of your investment, and then you have to write a check for the demolition of where your house once stood, and then if you rebuild, you have 100% of that coming out of your pocket as well. So that's a double whammy. And many people, just even if they consider themselves to be rich, don't want to take on that much risk, considering the odds that are happening in Florida.
Number 4, property taxes. Now, many of you want to escape the crazy high taxes of other states, and I get it, only to find out that Florida has appraised home values that are 26% higher between 2021 and 2022. Now, it's increasing again. So if you buy at these all-time high prices, get ready for your tax bill to double. Now, if you bought back in the 1980s, you could be grandfathered in, but some new unsuspecting buyers could owe thousands and thousands of dollars more in property taxes than their previous owners of the same exact home. So with all these expenses, they're only going to increase into the future. But some new Florida homeowners have complained that their taxes went from $3,800 a year to $8,200 a year. And others have said that their property taxes jumped from $5,000 to $11,000. It's happening.
Now, some of you wrote me and you said you didn't expect your Florida property taxes to be so high. One Florida resident told me her taxes were $3,900 a year when she moved into an almost identical house in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and her taxes were only $1,100 a year for the same type of house. Number 3, so what happens after a hurricane? Does the Florida housing crisis get only worse? Now, you just can't let your house go without doing anything about that damage. You need to at least protect your home from further interior damage with temporary tarps or even quick patches. But interior mold is a huge issue with Florida's hot and humid temperatures, along with other structural issues. Now, if you don't do those temporary repairs until you can get a hold of a contractor to do a full fix, you're giving the insurance company a reason to deny your claim. So without tarps, you can cause more damage with leaks from those afternoon rainstorms. And many homeowners have said living through this is absolute hell. But if you need a roof, better get in line, because you're either going to pay double or triple or even pay someone off, because trying to find a roofing company even 6 months after a storm that won't scam you or rip your nose off is a real chore. So how long should your roof last? In most other states, asphalt shingles, 3-tab shingles that is, 15 to 20 years. Asphalt architectural shingles, about 20 to 30 years. Metal roofs, they can last 40 to 70 years.
Now, even terracotta roofs, they experience damage. I always thought that just because terracotta roofs were more expensive, that they would last, 50 or 75 years. But with repeated storms, the roof did not listen, and it certainly didn't get the same memo. Now, one woman told me that she bought a brand new home 8 months ago in Florida, and she received storm damage from her new house, and she got a quote for the roof, and it was $82,000. Now she regrets moving to Central Florida. But after it's fixed, guess what? She's moving to South Carolina. My real estate team in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, has been helping people move who have been in Florida and had issues. They're looking for a lower cost of living with lower home prices in South Carolina. Kiss it goodbye, because now in Florida, if your roof is older than 10 years old, Florida insurance companies will drop your coverage. Now, this is even if you don't have any claims and your roof is not leaking. So they just will not renew your policy. Number 2, FixerUpper Houses. You could buy a FixerUpper, or you could buy a foreclosure, or get a deal from a hurricane damaged house. Sure guys, but the average cost to remodel a kitchen, a bathroom, it's not what you think it was just a few years ago, guys. Fact is, 95% of the people who did a remodel did not think it was going to end up costing them as much as it really did cost. So right now, there's many new inflationary costs. And some of you wrote me about you did a fixer-upper with all the roof work, the mold remediation, the HVAC work and foundation work, the electrical, and the build-out. And it all adds up. So you know what all this adds up to, don't you? Money. So ask them where they went wrong, or would they do it again? Would they do it differently? Many of you have told me that you would never do it again. Number one, limited options and the other alternatives. Now, 9 insurance companies have gone bankrupt, insolvent, or in receivership. Now, that's a Florida problem. It's 15 companies that have completely left the market last year alone. Now, that's a Florida problem. You paid the insurance premium, yet when you need to make a claim, guess what happens? They don't pay you. Florida has changed a lot. So, what are your other options? Now, if you're still thinking about moving or retiring, be smart. Don't get wiped out. Avoid the pitfalls that are costly. So, I know this is hard to do, but if you keep an open mind before plunking down your life savings and losing it just in a flash, just keep an open mind. Now, consider the alternative states or even the alternative areas with fewer chances of natural disaster. There are places with lower taxes, great health care, and with doctors, places with great year-round weather, and it's not too hot, and it's not too cold, places with lots of fun things to do. Now, if you found this information helpful, consider subscribing to this channel because there are over 1,100 videos here that are helpful to you. So I want you to discover these alternative areas, and if you decide to do that, pick up the phone, give us a call at 843-839-9870. You have questions, we have answers, and this is what we do every single day, and we're here to help you avoid those pitfalls. Talk soon.